Welcome to Stage 3 of the Understanding by Design backwards design process, and it's the final stage where we will be discussing how we're going to plan learning experiences. When you look in the book, it's the WHERE to, the WHERETO acronym. What teaching and learning experiences will equip students to engage with, develop, and demonstrate the desired understanding? Group each key teaching and learning activity with its appropriate where to location. So first we're looking at the goals, which we're going to put in SMART learning objectives. They're specific, measurable, attainable, results focused, and time focused. And that's the W part of the where to. And it's help the students know where the unit is going, what is expected, help the teacher know where the students are coming from, prior knowledge and interests. So these SMART learning objectives are just telling them what they're going to be expected to do and know by the end of the course and what you're teaching to. Next we have the relevance. This is still under the W. What are the benefits to the students by completing this unit? How will they benefit from learning this material? There could be more than one benefit. In this case, I only have the one benefit to students. Then there's the diagnosis. How will you know what they know before the lesson and what they know after the lesson? How will you test for misconceptions? In this case, I have one example. It's diagnosis. I'm going to do a pretest, and I'm going to use that pretest to determine how I'm going to teach the course to each student and help them revise their study habits on what they know coming in and what they're going to focus on. The hook and the hold. Now this is the H of the WHERE to acronym. The hook and the hold. How will you hook and hold students? To me, this is important as the big idea in the beginning. The hook and the hold is like the pitch, the buy-in, the sell. What are you going to do right at the beginning of the class to show these students that this is important, it's interesting, they want to know it, they want to be there? And in this course, I use an example, show a time-lapse video of the costly and time-consuming process of designing, making, and setting up for other manufacturing processes such as plastic extrusion, CNC machining, showing the final product, which in this case would be a simple automotive component. All right, so that's what I'm going to show them that video. Then I'm going to follow up with a hook, and I'm going to use a 3D rendering software and a 3D printer to manufacture that same product and show it completed by the end of the class session to demonstrate the efficiency of additive manufacturing. While I'm teaching the course, after I show them that video, I'm going to be building this process in the back, and it's going to be done before the session's over. So that's going to show them the efficiency and how unique additive manufacturing is. And in part of that is technology. How will technology be used in the unit to hook your students and get them interested and engaged? In this case, I'm going to use video streaming to show the manufacturing process video, the time-lapse video. And then I'm going to use 3D rendering software, and I'm going to use a 3D printer to actually make this component during the class time. All right, experience and explore. This is the E part of the where to. Experience and explore. How will students uncover the meaning of the unit? Remember, this is all going to be aligned. You're going to be taking stuff from stage 1 and stage 2 to align this. Experience and explore number 1, the students will be taught by the instructor in class. So there's going to be some lecture and some instruction going on and some classwork about manufacturing processes, materials, and general cost-benefit principles as they relate to additive manufacturing and other manufacturing processes. Notice how this aligns to my objectives, my knowledge, skills, my competencies. All right, so then at 2, the student will work in small groups to analyze provided case studies of failed and successful additive manufacturing projects. So not only going to teach, we're going to have them do small groups, and we're going to give them case studies, which are going to, it's going to support the assessment, the final assessment, where they're going to have to write this report to their supervisor. And then experience number 3, the students will use the case studies to write a report to support or not support accepting a contract based on cost, quality, ethical guidelines. If accepting the contract is not supported, implement changes, if any, that will make the contract acceptable. Now look, this is very familiar sounding because this is aligning with what I want them to do, but they're going to practice it in the class. This is how they're going to experience and explore before they have to do that final written report for the summative grade at the end. All right, here's the R of the where to. All right, rethink, revise, and refine. How will the students have opportunities to rethink, revise, and refine their work in the unit? Rethink, revise, and refine number 1. The student case study small groups will be required to provide peer response feedback and up to the other small groups, and they will have the opportunity to use that feedback to consider different perspectives and re-examine their analysis and revise the report before turning it in if they find it necessary. All right, so peer review can be used or not used, but they're going to have an opportunity to rethink theirs based on other people's knowledge and experiences. Number two, the students will be provided instructor feedback on the analysis of the provided manufacturing case studies and the resulting report prior to performing the final graded report, which will allow for self-assessment of their performance. All right, so it's another chance to redefine and rethink prior to the summative. Right? This is going to be graded, but it's going to be formative. It's a test to see what they can do, but it's also formative. It allows them to revise and rethink before they take their summative. All right? Reflect and self-regulate. How will the students have time to improve their metacognition and self-regulation skills? The students will be shown the unit learning objectives at the beginning of the unit so they can reflect and ask questions about any concerns they may have. Those learning objectives under the first part of the where to, right, we're going to show them those. And then they're going to be able to look at those and they're going to be able to reflect and ask questions about any concerns they have. Just like at the beginning of any class, there's anxieties and there's things that they think they may not have a background in, but we're going to have discussion about it. All right. The next one is the students will be given their individual pre-test results so they can see their strong and weak areas of knowledge and regulate their study time accordingly. All right, that's pretty self-explanatory. We're going to give them the results of their test. And then the second E of the where is formative feedback. Now this starts sounding a little redundant, but it's from different aspects. How will students get formative feedback so they can improve their work and move toward mastering the learning objectives? Before I told you I was going to give them feedback, now I'm telling you how I'm going to give it. The students will get instant electronic generated feedback on a multiple choice quiz. You notice this aligns. We're giving them a quiz we talked about in stage 2, and now I'm telling them how I'm going to give them feedback about that quiz. And then there's formative feedback number 2. The students will be provided peer and instructor feedback on their case study analysis and report using the same rubric that will be used for the final graded report to the supervisor. We told them we were going to give them feedback. Now we're telling how we're giving feedback using a rubric. And number 3, the students will be provided written instructor feedback on the 2 methods of manufacturing written summaries and will be given the opportunity to ask questions for clarification on the instructor's feedback. All right, so remember we have 3 forms of assessment in the class. All right, we had a quiz, we had a written summary, and we had the report to the supervisor, which was the activity. So in this case, all 3 are covered on how I'm going to give them feedback, and the students, in this case, this last one, number 3, is about the written summary, right? And it all aligns. Then the T of the where to. How is it going to be tailored to differentiate learning? The information received from the pre-test will be used by the instructor to define strengths and weaknesses of individual students and steer their study habits to their weaknesses. And the students will be allowed to choose their contract scenario from a set provided or be allowed to use one of their own choosing if approved by the instructor. So we don't want to limit them. We want them to be able to prove they know and can transfer this knowledge and understandings, and they have these understandings, but we want to make it comfortable for them. So we're giving them options and we're going to put tools in their bag. And then how's it going to be organized? Towards learner-centered strategies. How will the unit be organized to ensure your lesson is designed using a variety of learned-centered instructional strategies? All right, learned-centered instructional strategies. The quizzing of students with provided feedback and the use of small student groups to complete real-world analysis and reports along with the peer review. Feedback, feedback, feedback. Organized to be authentic. How will the unit be organized to engage your students in local and global interdisciplinary units in which technology will help students assume professional roles? This is the real world part. Now, so remember we talked about real world stuff before, right? We're going to use those scenarios and those case studies that are real world. So organized and authentic. The unit will be using real world case studies to be analyzed by the students to decide if they are or not feasible real world projects. The manufacturing technologies to be compared and contrasted are real world technologies, and the products produced are real world products. The case study analysis report and the final graded supervisor report will be formatted to closely represent actual company project analysis reports. So they're going to be formatted in forms they're going to be using later on in the real world. And another part of organized is the organized to creativity, higher order skills, and mental habits of mind. You know, how are they going to know what they know and how are they going to know what they learned? So we're going to talk about creative, higher order, and mental habits of mind. When students are analyzing the case studies, they must use the higher order thinking skills of compare and contrast in context. Use metacognition to decide if the other student group feedback is usable or not based on the judgment of their own understandings of the subject. So do they think they know it well and they can disregard what other people are saying, or do they need to incorporate some of those? And this is all using the skills of metacognition. All right, so then the other one is organized to assess students' learning. How will your unit be organized to continually assess students' learning and technology literacy by applying a rich variety of formative and summative assessments aligned with content and student technology standards? The main key here is formative and summative assessments aligned. So, the course will be structured in a scaffolded manner that evaluates what students know coming in. After instruction on basic terms and manufacturing principles, the students will be given a lower order cognition multiple choice quiz. All right, this is basically taking you through the scaffolding of the course. We're going to go from easy to hard after knowing what they already know, with instant feedback, which will provide the instructor with student success and failure rate and provide the student with the opportunity to shift study habits towards weak areas of learning. The students will then be asked to perform higher order cognition tasks by analyzing case studies and providing recommendations based on their analysis. Peer and instructor feedback will be provided on case study reports. So this is just the scaffolding, the order it's going to happen in, and of course, in my mind, in this case, what I've designed it is be from simple to more complex. All right. Next is organized to use technology to analyze data. How will your unit be organized to use technology tools and resources to systematically collect and analyze student achievement data, interpret results, and communicate findings to improve instructional practice and maximize student learning? All right, so how are we going to analyze how well we're teaching the course and how well the students are learning? All right, so use of technology to do that. We're going to use the quiz question responses will be recorded and data collected in Microsoft Excel to look for faulty or biased questions based on how often each question is missed and compared to the grades of students missing the questions. Any questions found to be missed, often by students passing the quiz, will be reconfigured and new data will start. All right, so you can continually collecting data, but you're going to continue to change the process or change the quiz based on results. The writing assignments will be checked. This is both writing assignments, the written summary and the report to the supervisor. The writing assignments will be checked using plagiarism detecting software to evaluate originality of the completed writing assignments. All right, and that covers stage number 3. So this covered the where to that you're going to be looking at in the textbook. I hope you enjoyed these videos, but more importantly, I hope you find them to be a valuable tool as you move forward in understanding the UBD backward design process and as you read the UBD textbook. And I hope it helps you to align what you're learning in the textbook and simplifies it and makes it more concrete for you. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.